Outside my classroom window, there's a fantastic cherry tree. At least it's fantastic for a very short period in the spring when it comes out in beautiful pink blossom. The cherry tree gives me a nice lead-in to a philosophical example. An example given by Bishop George Berkeley, who has rather strange views about the nature of existence. He wrote a dialogue, three dialogues between Hylas and Philonoos, and these two characters are wandering around in a garden, arguing about the nature of existence, as one might do on a nice day. And one of these characters claims that nothing exists outside of minds and their ideas. There is no material substance that exists. And the other one says, quite rightly, you must be mad. So no, this is really his common sense view. Everybody really thinks this, and I'll demonstrate. We'll go and ask the gardener what he thinks. So they go to the gardener and they say, why do you think yonder cherry tree exists? And the gardener says, oh, well, what would you say? Because I can see it. That's a perfectly sensible answer. So we're not altogether daft question. And so this character says, there, I've told you. He says, it exists because he can see it. So, things exist because we can see them. That may not sound very surprising. What happens if you close your eyes? What if it happens if you stop seeing the thing? Does that mean it stops existing? Well, it seems, well, that's what that claim commits you to. Now ask yourself, do you really think this? What happens to your room when you close the door? Does it stop existing? Well, if you think that, then that's what you would be committed to saying. Something's gone wrong here in the reasoning. There is actually something ambiguous in this question. There seems to be two questions here. Why do you think yonder cherry tree exists? Now that's a question about how do you know it exists? And questions like that, how do you know, we call epistemological questions. It's a question about your knowledge. And we give it a nice Greek term, which is to do with knowledge, the theory of knowledge. That looks like a good question. How do you know the cherry tree exists? Well, look, it's there. I can see it. That's a perfectly good answer to that question. But there's another question here. Why, do you think, does yonder cherry tree exist? Now ask yourself, if somebody asks that question, would you say the cherry tree exists because I can see it? That would seem a very strange claim. That's because it's a different question. This is a question about existence, and we call these ontological or metaphysical questions. They're about existence. Why does the cherry tree exist? Well, someone planted it. Nothing to do with me seeing it. There's an ambiguity in this question here that leads George Berkeley to make a slip from an epistemological question, the answer to an epistemological question where he starts making claims about the nature of existence. So things exist just because they're being perceived. The reason is clearly faulty.